Hello viewers, you join us on a nice bit of road called the Road Through Heaven that runs between these two salty lakes. And we are also joined by a few flamingos because this is the Run of Kutch and we are here to ride the Matter Aera 5000 Plus. And here is everything you need to know about it. The Matter Aera is styled like any conventional naked motorcycle and fits very well into that segment. In fact, the lack of an exhaust system is perhaps the first sign that you get to know that this is not your regular ICE motorcycle, it is in fact fully electric. The Aera sits on 17-inch wheels at either end, and highlights of the design include LED lighting all around. I personally like how they have integrated the indicators into this front cowl here, which extends down into the radiator as well. Then you come down here, there is a little gear over here which spins as the motor rotates, adding a little bit of drama to an already eye-catching design. The frame is exposed and you can see the battery pack over there. Then you come all the way back and you can see that they have not neglected the tail either. There are very interesting elements over here, and throughout the motorcycle you will see the number 7, which represents the 7 elements, because matter in Sanskrit means tattva and aera is obviously the air element. The instrument cluster on the Aera is one of its most defining features and something that we really like, because what we have here is a fully digital, full color tablet-like display which gives you all the information you need at a glance. The readout is crisp, as is navigating through the menu. The screen is touchscreen, of course, but the touch sensitivity is cut off when you're riding. So then you have to rely on the switch gear, and manipulating your way through the modes or through the different screens is intuitive and easy. The Matter Aera has been developed after most popular 150cc and 160cc motorcycles, and therefore the riding position is very familiar. It's not too aggressive, it is fairly upright. I have enough room for my legs, and unless you are extremely tall, you will be very comfortable on this motorcycle. In fact, the only thing I would change would be increase a little bit more padding on the seat, because as comfortable and contoured as it is, if one is intending to spend a longer time in the saddle, then softer foam will definitely help. Now this is the part where it gets interesting, so pay attention. The Matter Aera is the first Indian electric motorcycle to feature liquid cooling and offer a transmission. This is a 4-speed unit, and the liquid cooling, the radiator pipes go all the way around the motor and up into the battery pack before circling back into the radiator again. The battery pack itself is a consolidated unit that sits squarely over here in between the trellis frame that runs almost parallel to the ground. And below it you have the motor. This is a 10.5 kilowatt unit, which means 14.3 horsepower, and Matter claim it makes close to 26 Newton meters of peak torque. Matter claim that the Aera is aimed at being a mass market product, which means it wants to be the motorcycle that pulls people away from the ICE segment and introduce them to the world of electric commuting. It could also be the first motorcycle for many new motorcyclists. That being said, to keep the cost reasonable, they have provided very basic suspension and braking componentry. You get disc brakes at the front and rear, but it only has single-channel ABS. The suspension unit is a regular telescopic fork and dual shock absorbers. Throughout the day, we have been riding the Matter Aera primarily around the Kutch region, and this area offers a mix of good and bad roads. Initial impressions are fairly positive because, unlike most motorcycles in this segment, the Matter team have got their motorcycle dynamics sorted. There is a good baseline. So if you're looking for a motorcycle to just go to office and use within town, then this is already fairly well set up. But if you want to enjoy riding a bit more, carry a bit more speed and lean into corners, then what this motorcycle needs is a little bit more progressive damping both at the front and the rear. Right now, under braking, the front, as you can see, dives a lot while the rear does not move as much. And that takes a little getting used to. You have to be more confident because the motorcycle will pull through, but it does deprive you of a little bit of confidence. In terms of throttle response, this motorcycle gets 3 modes, which is City, Eco and Sport. It is most easy to use in the Eco and City modes, while Sport, the response is a little abrupt, sometimes even jerky, but not uncomfortably so. So if you enjoy riding fast and riding aggressively, Sport mode is the one for you. But if you enjoy riding at a leisure pace with full control, then you want to be in city. Eco, I believe, is purely for efficiency purposes, and that is exactly what we've been doing all day today. Whenever we need to conserve charge, I put the thing in Eco, and in 4th gear, it does not do more than 60 kilometers per hour. Whereas in city mode, it goes up to 80, and in sport mode, all the way up to 100 kilometers per hour. Earlier, we were told that the Eco mode is very similar to 125 and 110cc motorcycles, whereas city was closer to 150s, while sport was closer to the 160s and the 180s. Honestly, to a certain extent, that is true. Eco mode is very close to 50% capacity of most 125cc motorcycles in the market, whereas city mode is very close to the 2-valve 150cc motorcycles that we are used to. However, the sport mode, although exciting and fun to ride and whatnot, is not up to the mark when you compare it to 4-valve 160s. It is closer to 2-valve 160s and 180s. But even so, the acceleration of this motorcycle is certainly better, but in terms of top speed, those are much better. Two of the biggest talking points of the Matter Aera are the liquid cooling and the 4-speed transmission. This we didn't have a chance to really test today because we are constantly moving all the time, but this one I can talk about. The 4-speed transmission, you can think of it as 4 different modes, because in each gear it has a maximum speed. There's no real minimum speed because in each mode, Eco, City or Sport, even in 4th gear, this motorcycle was pulling all the way to its top speed. So unlike an ICE motorcycle where you have to downshift because the engine asks for it, this electric motorcycle does not require it. But in terms of how it feels, it is clunky, it is noisy, and there is a lot of room for improvement as well. And that is the only feedback here, to make it more refined. Otherwise, it's a different experience and not an enjoyable one, but certainly different. The Matter Aera is one of the most reasonable products in its segment, simply because of the fact that it does not try to be more than what it has to be. They want this motorcycle to be a mass market product, and on those lines it does deliver, because it has a small 5 kWh battery which promises a modest range of 125 kilometers. And like I said earlier, its handling, throttle response, everything is consistent with a mid-level motorcycle. On that front, they have done well. But what about pricing? Pricing for the Matter Aera begins at Rs 1.74 lakh ex-showroom, but that is for the 5000 model. This is the more expensive 5000 plus, and the differences are completely software related. So this motorcycle is priced at Rs 1.84 lakh, and is it worth it? As it is right now, not really, because they have to solve a lot of quality and fit and finish issues and a few minor things that will definitely improve this motorcycle and make it a more enjoyable machine to own and ride. But if you have the money to spend and you're looking for something to just go to office, come back and use in town, then this is as reasonable as it gets as of now. There it is. That's all you need to know about the Matter Aera. If you have missed out something, do let us know in the comments. This is Joshua Verghese signing off for Bike India.